Hey guys, welcome to episode 29 of the Daily Level Up Show. I am your host, Roosevelt Cooper, and in today's episode, I want to talk to you about why I had one of the worst productivity weeks that I've had in at least 6 months, if not a year. So this weekend, we went to a gaming expo. It was called the Long Island Tabletop Gaming Expo. And my kids and I, we had a blast. We had so much fun. We got a chance to get introduced to new board games and new tabletop games. We got a chance to play some new RPGs that we never played before. We got a chance to play some retro arcade games, meet new people, find out about other organizations that host gaming events. We just had a blast. We really enjoyed ourselves. However, despite enjoying ourselves and having a great weekend, this past week was one of my worst weeks ever in terms of productivity. And here's the thing, the Gaming Expo had nothing to do with my lack of productivity. So you might ask, well, how can you say the Gaming Expo has nothing to do with your lack of productivity? A Gaming Expo is taken up at least 2 days in the week. Those are days that you could have been doing the activities that were necessary in order to be productive. But here's the thing, I've known about the Gaming Expo for months. So that's not the reason why I had such a poor week productivity wise. The reason why I had such a poor week productivity wise was because of a lack of planning on my part. So here's what I mean. So back in, I think it was July. Yes, it was July. Back in July, I had a rough month in terms of productivity. And with that particular month, when I met after the month was over and I spoke to my coach, one of the things he was telling me was there was a major consideration that I did not factor in, and that major consideration impacted my productivity. So in July, I was temporarily promoted to a manager position. And it was the first time that I would be in that position for a 120-day period. And I did not plan for that and incorporate that as a part of my goals. So because of that, the additional responsibilities in that position had a major impact in my ability to be productive towards the goals that I established for the month of July. Now, this month, I am now in a managerial development program that I started last month. I started in January, and I figured, okay, well, I'm good now. I've been doing this for 2 months now. I'm good to go. So I didn't really incorporate anything going on in my job in terms of how I would be able to accomplish my goals. And then on top of that, I increased my goals for like every single category in the month of March. Despite the fact that I knew that I had this gaming convention that was going to take at least a weekend away from me. So because of that poor planning, that is the reason why I had a bad week. So how do we avoid that in the future? First things first, anything that's major that you know is going to be going on, you want to plan for that. And if it's going to be, for example, like a gaming convention, you know you're not going to be working or doing much productivity. I mean, the only thing during the gaming convention that I did that actually drove towards my productivity was my exercise goals because of all that walking around. So the gaming convention really helped out with that. But everything else, I should have been, well, that's not true. Content helped as well because, as you know, if you saw the last two episodes, those episodes are based upon the gaming expo. So that goal I did well too. And incidentally enough, those were the two goals that I did the best in this week. Whereas my other three goals, I did not do well at all. So whenever you are in a situation where you know you're going to be tied up for a weekend or a week if you're going on vacation or whatever, you need to factor that in terms of planning and establishing your goals for the month. Same is true for like when it's like the holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, times like that, certain goals, you got to factor that in. Like if you're setting goals, you got to make sure you have, and it's the month of November, and you're in the United States, you got to make sure that those goals are pretty much done before Thanksgiving. Because after Thanksgiving, a lot of those goals you're not going to be able to get done because people are in holiday mode. So I needed to have factored that in better. And then the other thing, if you have major life changes, like for example a new job, like for example a new child, like for example a brand new marriage, and many of you who are watching this, some of you I know personally, I know you're going through those life changes right now. I know some of you just got married. I know some of you just had a child. Well, your wives had a child, but I know some of you just had children. You have to factor that into how to your overall productivity and what you can realistically do, because those major life changes have a major impact on what you can do and what you cannot do. So that was the reason why this was one of my worst weeks in terms of productivity. I didn't factor those elements in enough, and as a result, I paid the price. Fortunately, now that I've known that, well, it doesn't really matter at this point because I don't have another gaming convention coming up this month. So I'll be able to try to make some of that ground up this week. But just keep in mind, you want to make sure that you factor those things in when you're setting your goals so that you can continue to be productive, but productive at a realistic level based upon what you have going on. All right, so hope you got some value out of that. Take care, and I will see you tomorrow in the next episode.